Rituals have always been at the heart of human culture, shaping identities, beliefs, and societies. But some ancient practices are so shocking, so extreme, that they challenge everything we think we know about our past. Prepare yourself for a journey into the dark side of ancient traditions. Throughout history, rituals were seen as essential to pleasing the gods, uniting communities, or gaining supernatural favor. Yet, in some cultures, these rituals took forms we can barely fathom today. In the ancient world, sacrifice, extreme self-punishment, and even offerings of human life were seen as a way to fulfill a higher purpose. But what could push entire civilizations to embrace practices we find horrifying today? Let's dive into the disturbing rituals that left their mark on history. Let's start with Carthage, an ancient civilization located in what is now modern-day Tunisia. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence that points to a chilling practice: the sacrifice of young children. Known as the Tophet, these sacrificial rituals were believed to be offerings to the gods Baal, Hammon, and Tanit. Imagine a culture so devoted that it would offer its own children. But why? What drove them to such a sacrifice? Historians suggest this practice might have been carried out during times of crisis, such as war or famine, as a plea for divine intervention. Skeletal remains discovered at these sites show signs that many of the sacrificed were indeed young, some only months old. Could this have been desperation or an act of profound belief in the gods' power over life and death? In the dense jungles of Central America, the ancient Mayas developed one of the most advanced civilizations in pre-Columbian America. But they, too, practiced intense rituals. One of the most shocking was bloodletting, where nobles and priests would pierce themselves with thorn-lined ropes or obsidian blades. The Maya believed that spilling their blood opened a portal to communicate with gods and ancestors. But what kind of belief could drive someone to such painful extremes? Maya leaders saw themselves as intermediaries between the gods and their people. By offering their own blood, they believed they could maintain cosmic balance and ensure prosperity. This ritual, often performed on significant dates, shows how seriously they took their role in maintaining order between the human and divine realms. Perhaps one of the most infamous examples of ritual sacrifice is found in the Aztec Empire. Known for their large-scale ceremonies, the Aztecs believed that the sun god, Huitzilopochtli, needed regular nourishment in the form of human hearts to keep the sun rising each day. Some accounts claim that at the dedication of the Great Temple in Tenochtitlan, thousands of people were sacrificed over 4 days. Could this really be true? Historians agree that sacrifice was central to Aztec cosmology. They believed that by offering human life, they could prevent the end of the world. In their eyes, the gods had sacrificed themselves to create the earth and the sun, so human sacrifice was seen as a sacred duty, a necessary part of the cycle of life. But some researchers believe these ceremonies also served a political purpose, intimidating neighboring tribes and reinforcing the Aztecs' dominance. Moving to the ancient Celts of Western Europe, we find yet another eerie practice: headhunting. The Celts believed the human head was the seat of the soul and a source of immense power. Warriors would preserve the heads of their enemies, keeping them as trophies or even as spiritual talismans. For the Celts, possessing an enemy's head meant possessing their strength. But was this a symbolic act or something far darker? Some historians theorize that these heads were offered to Celtic gods in sacred ceremonies, seen as both a way to honor the gods and demonstrate victory. The heads were often displayed on stakes or even used in architecture. While the practice may seem brutal, the Celts saw it as a way to harness spiritual power. In Japan, a sect of Buddhist monks called the Sokushinbutsu took the concept of devotion to unimaginable lengths. These monks voluntarily underwent a process of self-mummification, known as Sokushinbutsu, as an act of ultimate spiritual commitment. Imagine preparing yourself to become a living mummy, enduring extreme conditions and starvation in the hope of attaining enlightenment. The monks would follow a strict diet, gradually reducing their intake to nothing but roots and bark while meditating for years. Finally, they would seal themselves in a tomb, alive, to complete the process. By the time the monk died, the body was so devoid of fat, and the organs were so shrunken in size that the desiccated body wouldn't start decomposing, thus preserving the physical form and beginning the baffling process of natural mummification. When the tomb was reopened, only those who had preserved remained revered as living Buddhas. This practice, seen as the ultimate form of self-sacrifice, reveals the lengths some were willing to go to reach spiritual transcendence. These ancient rituals shock us, but they reveal powerful insights into the beliefs and values of their times. For these cultures, life and death were intertwined with the supernatural. Sacrifice, pain, and extreme devotion were seen not as horrifying, but as necessary steps to ensure cosmic balance, appease gods, or even attain enlightenment. So, what does it tell us about human history that so many cultures embraced such extremes? While we may never fully understand the depth of belief that fueled these ancient practices, one thing is certain. The past is filled with mysteries that challenge our perceptions of humanity. Join us next time as we continue to unravel history's secrets. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe and join our passion of fascinating explorations into ancient history and cultures.